some of their doubts and be able to personally interact with Puja Swamiji, which I felt was very important, you know. Puja Swamiji has kindly blessed us with his presence, giving us an opportunity to interact with him, to receive his wisdom. And so Swamiji will first answer questions that the Dehradun group has, and time permitting, others can ask questions, and Puja Swamiji will, I think, also give us a summary of Tattva Bodha. So we open this to all seekers, you know, because people who don't live in Ahmedabad don't have access to Puja Swamiji to interact in this way. So I welcome all of you who have joined and thank all of you for joining this satsang. And together we welcome Puja Swamiji. May we be all blessed by Swamiji's presence and wisdom today. When you want to ask questions, please use the raise hand option under the reactions. Okay, I will show it to you how to do that. I'm sorry, Swamiji, something went wrong there. Okay. Okay. No, doesn't work. Okay. We can still make it work without putting it on the whole screen. Yeah. So when you want to raise your hand on Zoom, if you're on your computer, then go to the bottom of your screen where you see reactions. And when you press that, you will get this raise hand option. And when you use that, what will happen is the raise hand option will show against your name in the participant list. For example, somebody has put, Rita ji has put up her hand, and I will request her to lower it. Yeah.
I just wanted to say Hari Om Swamiji, Pranam.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. And then Rita is, I think, Swamiji's sister. Huh? And this is for the Android people. Yeah. That you will go to the where more is there on your screen on your mobile. Press that and you will get the raise hand option and you can raise hand. And if all this is just too technical, you just raise your hand like that. I will somehow find you. First option goes to the Dehradun people. Okay. So with that, I hand over to Puja Swamiji to start this online satsang, maybe with a prayer.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Do you want me to first summarize and then invite questions, or you want first?
Swamiji, let's invite questions first. Perhaps that would be better. I can already see that Krishna Pratap ji's hand is up. So we can start with him then. Krishna Pratap ji, please unmute your video.
Namaskar, Swamiji.
Namaskar.
Listening to you, it has opened new chapter in my life. And many of your examples which came repeatedly also, like clay and pot, and some other things which have not come repeatedly, like I'm seeing a picture of a dark room with the opening with a bucket of water. So all those things are, and your stories also we have greatly relished. Not only that, we share with other people also. And thank you very much. And I have 2-3 questions. I'll just indicate the questions. Time permitting, you can answer whichever is suitable.
You can ask one by one. Ask one by
yes,
one.
Sir. Yes, sir. In the sloks 11, Vairodha Liyate Mana Jala Shaktivadrodha Sadhana. In this and 14 also, Pranabandhana Lena Manasam. Pranayama is said to be very, very important in this matter. I am a practitioner of Bhagavad Gita, Pranayama Yoga also. I had seen pranayama as a health measure only, even though I do Gayatri Japam every day, where I do the pranayama. And I found some astounding benefit out of that. But I never thought pranayama is so important for this knowing yourself. Can you tell more about it and give some guidelines, please?
Yes. If you look at the verse 10, it says, Hrusthale manasvasthada. Manasvasthada, the abidance of the mind. In Hrit means Atma. Abiding of the mind in the self, that is the knowledge of the self, that is the goal that we are seeking, that the mind abides in the self. Mind has a habit of thinking naturally, and usually it thinks of many things of the world also, various objects and things it will think of. So what we want is that this mind is slowly, progressively withdrawn from its preoccupation with the objects of the world, is made inward looking, ultimately so inward looking that it just remains itself. Understand that the essential nature of mind also is self or consciousness. Therefore, the form of the mind, which is what we call thought, like this, one of those examples, like this ornament, like a bangle, is the form, and for the bangle to abide in its nature, which is gold. So, mind is made up of the various thoughts. Each thought is like an ornament, and just as gold is the material of which ornament is made, so also consciousness or Atma is the material of which the mind is made, of which the thoughts are made. So, when we say that this bangle abides in gold, which means that the bangle attains its natural state because gold is the nature. So also the mind abiding in the self, abiding in consciousness, the bangle becoming gold, the mind becoming consciousness, meaning giving up its form and assuming its essential nature. This is called Hrusthale manasvasthata, manasvasthata. The abidance of mana, the mind, Hrusthale in the place of Hrut or the Atma, mind abiding in self, mind becoming the self, mind becoming consciousness. Now, this is innermost state of the mind. Therefore, the mind requires to be progressively withdrawn from its external activities and then withdrawn. This is called concentration of the mind. And the culmination of the concentration is that the mind abides in the self. That's the culmination. For this we require help sometimes, very often. Therefore here Ramana Maharshi prescribes what is traditionally taught in the Patanjali Yoga, is how to slowly either call it control the mind or withdraw the mind and make it most inward looking. And for that often you need help. So pranayama or the breath control is prescribed in the Yoga Shastra also, and same Yoga Shastra is very briefly described here by Ramana Maharshi just in 4 verses, and very beautifully described how can prana or the breath become the means of controlling the mind. They're 2 different things. But Ramana Maharshi says, no, they are not 2 different things. They are the 2 branches of the same energy called Prakriti, Maya, primordial energy. One branch is prana, the breath, other branch is mind, the chittam. So just as in a tree where the two branches emerge from the same source, by controlling one branch, you also control the other branch. You lower one branch, other branch also gets lowered. So prana is more gross, mind is more subtle. Much more difficult to control mind, relatively easy to control the prana or the breathing. Therefore, the pranayama, so vayu rodhanam, it is called rodhanam, ayama, pranayama, is slowly and slowly controlling the breath, meaning that slowly reducing the movement of the breath and gaining such a control over the breath that ultimately the breath also stops. And because mind also is connected with breathing, therefore mind also slowly stops. When the mind stops, it loses its form and it becomes abiding consciousness. So Vayu-rodhanat Lina-manasam, by Vayu-rodhanam controlling, restricting, restraining, stopping the Vayu, the breath, the mind also stops. And thus mind becomes Linam, it merges into its own self, into consciousness. But then, again Ramana Maharshi says that the mind simply merging is not enough. So what is meant by merging of mind is a state similar to deep sleep state, where also the mind merges, except that in deep sleep state, mind merges in ignorance. We don't want that. In this practice, the mind merges in the sattva, in the light, in awareness. So you remain aware when the mind has merged. The state when the mind is completely merged into its source, awareness, is called laya. So laya vinashane ubhaya-rodhane. So laya is one way of stopping the mind. But that is not enough. That's an experience. Vinashanam, use that experience. Pranabandhana linamanasam ekachintana nashame tyadaha. The mind that has been now stopped or merged by stopping the prana, in that mind ekachintanam, soham, that I am. Think about that. So contemplate upon soham. Who am I? I am that. I am consciousness. I am Brahman. So that is when this yogi becomes enlightened that I am Brahman. So a merged mind is one mind. This is enlightened mind. The enlightenment comes with the help of the teaching of the Guru, who says, Tattvamasi, you are that. Your response is, Soham, I am that. So, the seeing of this fact that I am that, I am consciousness, I am Brahman, then ignorance goes completely. This is called the destruction of the mind, technically speaking. Mano nasha. Laya vinashane ubhaya-rodhane. Merger of the mind is one kind of restraint. Destruction of mind is another kind of restraint. Laya-gatam punar-bhavati no-mrutam. Mind which is merged will again arise. Mind which is destroyed, meaning enlightened, will not arise into ignorance anymore. And thus, so, nashtamanaso utkrishta yogina, the yogi whose mind is thus completely, this mano nasha means destruction of mind, is a technical term. It should not mean destruction of mind as a faculty that you become mindless. It means destruction of ignorance in the mind. We have enlightened mind. It is no more a problem mind. So mind is the basic problem for people. So the enlightened mind now is your friend completely. So the yogi now abides in his own self Krutyamastikam, does anything remain to be done? Nothing remains to be done. So that is how pranayama or breath control is a technique used to control the mind, stopping the breath, stopping the mind. And mind that is stopped, now you ask, who am I? Who are you? Soham, I am that. See that fact? So this is how the yoga, the method is described here in 4 verses by Ramana Maharshi. So pranayama is not only for health, it is a spiritual practice also. And it's an exalted practice that it leads the aspirant to the knowledge, coupled with the teaching of the teacher. Understand? But in order for mind or me to see that I am Brahman, I need that kind of mind which is called Leenam. That is merged, no more a problem. In that mind I see that I am Brahman with the help of the teaching. It's not simply yoga or merger. Yoga is merger. But Nasa is the enlightenment, which requires the teaching, I am that.
Thank you, Vijay.
Okay.
My second question, in the light of Upanisharam, where Tattvamasi and there is no duality, but when we do famous prayers like Gayatri Japa, there is a duality. Likewise, when you do Mrityunjaya Japa, you ask him to save your life. So there is some difference in Gayatri Japa. There is a duality, obviously, whereas what all we learned is there should not be any duality. And praying to God to save our life, Mrityunjaya, whereas in duality there is no such question at all. How do these things connect?
There is no rule that you have to ask for favor when you do japa. So, even though the Mahamrityunjaya mantra says that I want to become free from my bondage, Trambakain ajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukam eva bandhanad mrityoho bandhanad mokshiya, I want to become free from the bondage of death. Now, if that death is a physical death, that means you are seeking freedom from death and disease, which is also fine. But if the disease is of the nature of ignorance, and the freedom that you want is freedom called moksha, same mantra also depending upon what is the attitude in your mind, same mantra with a different understanding can become means of moksha also. A mantra does not mean that you are always asking for favor. There is duality, all right. But then that duality is sattvic duality, not by. And that duality can help you to become free from duality. In our talks, one of the examples must be the pole vault. You know that take the pole, rise and cross the barrier. So, here this mantra, etc., becomes like a pole vault. I mean, it lifts you up, then you drop that and helps you in what you want. If you want some worldly benefit, yes. Some spiritual benefit, yes. Knowledge, yes, depends on what you want. So there is duality where our desire is to become free from duality. So all forms of worship, prayer, all of these involve, even including yoga, involves duality at the time of practice. And our ultimately desire is to become free from that duality. Urvarakam eva bandhanad mrityor mukshya mamritat. Mrityoho bandhanad mukshya, I want to become free from the bondage of death, which is ignorance. Urvarakam, like an urvaraka fruit. So, here is the prayer and duality to become free from duality. So, duality can be used like a volt pole to become free from duality. That's the purpose of all the sadhana. All prayers and worship and all the purpose of the sadhana which involves duality is ultimately become free from duality. Depends on what you want.
One or two questions, but I'll ask them later on. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
I will have to find who is, let me go to gallery view and remove him from spotlight. Okay, good. Sony uncle is there, Komal is there, Bhatia uncle wants to ask, Arora uncle wants to ask. So I think I will go with Sony uncle first, yeah? Unmute yourself, Sony uncle, no?
Haji Swamiji,
Oh.
Koti Pranam. I am DK Soni from Dehradun. My question is that in the last verse of this Upadeshasara, where that's Aham Apetkam Niji Viragnam Mahaidam Tapo Raman Vajyam. So in this I want to know how you can destroy the ego, which is the highest of us. And it is not clear to me how that ego, which is actually your I thought, that is I thought, that Ankara is I thought, which is always mixed up with the consciousness. And that is the root cause for all our ignorance. So how we can get rid of that I thought, that Ankaras, which our Raman Maharshi says, how we can get rid of that.
See, if you look at now verse 7, do you have the text in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. So verse 7 says, now you start this. Ramana Maharshi now leads us to the method of inquiry or investigation called vichara as to how to slowly become free from ego. So a question is asked in the verse 17. Manasantu kim margane krute. Margane krute, when we make an inquiry, when we investigate, ask this question, Manasantu kim, what is this mind? So the Karma Yoga was taught, Bhakti Yoga was taught, Patanjali Yoga was taught, all for the mind. With Karma Yoga, karma is the means of becoming free from this ego. Next, bhakti was used for becoming free from ego. Third, yoga was used, we just described it, pranayama, etc., for becoming free from ego. And fourth, now, Ramana says, vichara, the Vedanta vichara is the simplest way. Marge arjavam, because it's a simple, straightforward way. What is the straightforward way? Manasantukam, what is the mind? Iti margane krute, when we just inquire, what is this mind? Then the mind does not remain. Ramana Maharshi says that, confront the mind. Don't look upon mind as a problem. Says the Maharshi that now you straight away address the mind, look at the mind. What is this mind? There is a question asked in the verse 17. Then Ramana Maharshi now proceeds. Vrittyastvaham vrittimashritaha vrittayo mano vidyaham manaha. What is mind? Vrittaya manaha. Mind means thoughts. Flow of thoughts is called mind. Is that right?
Yeah.
What is mind? What is our mind? Thoughts are constantly flowing in the mind. Is it not so? Therefore, flow of thoughts can be called mind. A thought is called vritti. Vritti means the state of mind. So mind is a substance which keeps on assuming different forms. Like a malleable substance. When you heat it, then metal can assume different forms. Like wax can assume different forms when heated. mind also keeps on assuming different forms. Now the mind is of the nature of ghata, the pot, then cloth, then tree, then man. So mind keeps on assuming different forms. They are called thoughts. Thus, what is mind? The flow of thoughts is called mind. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Then, if flow of thoughts is mind, then let us ask, what are these thoughts? Then Ramana Maharshi says, all the thoughts can be divided into two categories. The I thought and all other thoughts. Vrittayo manaha. Vrittaya, mind is all vrittis or thoughts. Vrittayastu aham vrittimasritaha. All the thoughts can be divided into the I thought and other thought. All other thoughts are all derived from I thought. See, when you wake up in the morning, first thought that arises, I thought. You become aware of yourself and then slowly become aware of everything else. So all other thoughts of my home, my job, my family, etc., whatever, all these thoughts, they presuppose the I thought. There's two kinds of thoughts are there in our mind, the subject thought and the object thought. Sometimes we find ourselves talking to ourselves, or one part of mind talking to the other part of the mind. Do you experience that?
Yes.
Sometimes we experience that one part of the mind is talking to the other part of mind. That this kind of discussion, debate, dialogue is going on the mind. Do you experience that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there are two parts: the subject mind and the object mind. The subject mind interacts with the object's mind, objective mind. So I thought and a subject thought and object thought. Of these two kinds of thoughts, the object thought is dependent upon subject thought. Object thought is there, subject thought is there. Object thought is not there, no, subject thought is still there. Of the two kinds of thought, I thought, subject thought is independent. The idam vritti, this thought is dependent. Therefore, this idam is not independent, it is dependent upon aham. Idam vritti, idam thought, this thought is dependent upon aham thought. Therefore, what remains now is idam is dependent upon aham, therefore aham becomes idam, therefore all that is aham thought ultimately. Thought, mind is thoughts. Thoughts are of two categories, aham and idam, subject and object. That object thought is a dependent thought. Subject thought is independent thought. Therefore, the dependent object thought is not different from the aham thought. Therefore, ultimately, it reduces to aham, meaning that you can all stop all idam thought and what remains is I thought.
Yes.
Then further Ramana Maharshi asks in the 19th verse,
Please,
Gundi
please
nahi banne.
mute yourself. Whoever you are, please mute yourself. Who is this? I can't even make out who it is.
then in the 19th verse Ramana Maharshi asks,
This is Poonam Rastogis.
Okay. She also.
ahamayam kuto bhavati chinvatah. The mind is reduced to thoughts. Thoughts are reduced to I thought and this thought. This thought is dependent thought, therefore all that remains is I thought. So next question is, what is this I? I thought. Ahamayam koto bhavati. What's the nature of aham thought? What's the nature of I thought? What's the nature of ego? Iti chinvata. When you inquire into that, what is the source of that I thought? Now focus attention on I thought. I thought is there, it subsides, arises, subsides, arises. When I thought subsides, what remains? Is silence or consciousness? I thought comes, again subsides. So preceded by consciousness, followed by consciousness, so middle also is consciousness. So I thought, first consciousness, I thought consciousness. So therefore, where does the I thought come from? From consciousness. Where does it merge? Into consciousness. Like the ornament emerges from gold, merges back into gold, so ornament is gold. So I thought emerges from consciousness, merges back to consciousness, so what it is consciousness only. Therefore now your freedom, that you now hold on to consciousness yourself and let go of the I thought. First you let go of the idam thought, then you can let go of the I thought. Avinashavaji, thus when the I thought is let go, I thought no more is what is consciousness, Parama Purna Sat. The Parama Purna Sat, which is Atma, that's all that is, and that is essential nature of the mind, or of the I thought, essential nature of yourself. So this is the process, the yoga process we just described earlier. This is the vichara process, the Vedantic process. This Ramana Maharshi is easier and simpler. That I thought is nothing but consciousness, which is you. So all thoughts lead to I thought leads to the consciousness, which is you. Ahaminashabhaji, when that I thought eliminates, disappears, it leaves consciousness in its place, called Parama Purna Sat, existence, complete, whole consciousness.
But Swamiji, this is only possible when your mind is reasonably very pure. By doing that, what you said, that Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and then that meditation. But all those yogas, unless the mind is purified, probably to destroy it, it is very difficult. Destroy in the sense to make it go out of the mind, and then only the consciousness stays there. Unless that purity of mind is there, then only it is possible. Otherwise, I think lot of effort is required to make the mind very pure, and then probably we can do this inquiry.
True. But you can do it anyway. There are moments when the mind is pure. When you feel that your mind is pure, it is silent, it is quiet, there are times. At that time you can do that, depending upon how your mind is. If mind is restless, then you can engage the mind in activity. Little less restless, engage it in japa. Less restless, engage it in meditation. Less restless, engage it in this vichara.
No, so what Raman Maharishi says, it is the same inquiry as in the Vedanta, or it is a different inquiry?
This is the same, because ultimately says Soham, that I am, is what actually, even though we said mind rises from consciousness, but Vedanta teaches that the essential nature of thought is I thought is nothing but Soham, I am that. So he says, I am that. What is I am? I am is that Aham, I thought. And that is conscious of Brahman. So this is kept in mind all the time while this is going. It's not a mechanical process. It is with the help of the teaching that I am Brahman, or Soham. And that's what helps me to see the fact that that thought, I thought, arises from Brahman, pervaded by Brahman, merges back into Brahman. So depending upon how the state of a mind is, you can adopt a suitable sadhana. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Patanjali Yoga, or this Vedanta Vichara.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh.
I think I'll bring in Dr. Bhatia. Komal, okay, you raised your hand, but Dr. Bhatia has also told me earlier. But I'm bringing in Komal now, then Dr. Bhatia, then Aurora uncle. Okay.
Okay.
Replay spotlight. Okay. Oops, what happened? Where did Swamiji go? Huh? Ah.
Hi, hello, Komal.
Om
Yeah.
Namo
Oh,
Narayana
nice.
Swami
Oh.
Ji. I'm so grateful to Guru Ma and to you for giving me this opportunity to interact with you. I have a question regarding japa. Swamiji, japa, we know that it does antakaran shuddhi for us. And sometimes, our japa is just mechanical. So, how to do, the japa the right way? And does the mechanical japa, is it a sheer waste of time?
No, it is not a sheer waste of time. Mechanical japa also is better than no japa.
Okay.
Because even though then Ishvara's thought is diluted, when it's a mechanical, it's a very diluted thought of Ishvara. But in a dilute form, Ishvara is there, so it's better than no japa. But if you have a dedicated time for japa, then you can make yourself aware, oh, now my mind is now distracted, bring it back, distracted, bring it back. And so, japa that helps us to slowly bring focus to the mind. But don't give up japa. Japa is an excellent way of relating to Ishvara, centered upon Ishvara. If it becomes mechanical and you become aware, then try to become awareful. So, awarefulness is a way of overcoming mechanicalness. What is mechanicalness is habit. The mind falls in the old habit of various anxieties and various concerns that we have in our life. And today, those concerns are more important than Ishvara. When those concerns, what will happen to my family, what will this, all kinds of things that we have, as long as they are more important than Ishvara, then they are going to catch my mind, distract my mind. Then you become aware, oh, mind is distracted. Hey, mind, you have given more importance to family, more importance to this, that, and a worldly thing. Come back, give importance to Ishvara. So, again, have a little dialogue with your mind, coach the mind, bring it back. Again it goes there, bring it back. So that way japa helps us to progressively bring the mind back to the focus, back to the focus. But at the same time, understand that the japa also has to be accompanied with a certain way of life. Means certain attitudes. In life also we have to slowly develop certain attitudes. And recognize the importance of the worldly things. That my family and various things have a role in my life. But how important they are, I have to now and then think about this. I seem to be consumed by them. What will happen to me, my family, this, then, whatever it is that is bothering the mind. We have to ask the mind, why are you so bothered? What will happen? What is important to you? It is a habit that what is not important, the mind slides into the habit. So educate the mind. Hey mind, this is not important. This is all right. It's all going to stay here. Not going to come with me. What is important is how much I accumulate in terms of my savings of Ishvara, Naman and my purity and my contemplation. So, slowly educate the mind to recognize importance of japa, importance of sadhana, importance of purity, importance of being with you, importance of vairagya. Lack of vairagya. What is why ragadveshas distract our mind? Our concerns are there, anxieties are there, worries are there, fears are there. You know? So these are the things that distract the mind. So when they arise, then address the mind. Mind, why are you afraid? So we have to just address the mind and slowly release the mind from those concerns. We have to learn that. Meaning that we learn the ways of how the mind functions, what causes worries in the mind, what causes anxieties in the mind, what causes conflict in the mind, what is raga dvesha. And the Vedantic teacher tells us, the Guru Ma will tell you, how to deal with those things with right attitudes. So therefore, that process also has to constantly go on. The only when you're doing japa, but then throughout the day living the life. One part of the mind is watching what's going on there and constantly educating it with right attitudes, right understanding, right viveka. So that also should go on. And more impactful that will become, more quiet the mind will become. Meaning that japa also should be accompanied with understanding the mind, addressing the mind, addressing concerns of the mind. We can't ignore it. Whether mind's concerns are genuine or not, we have to address them like a child. So you know what the child says is not right, but still you sympathize with that and then with kindness explain. So with kindness also we keep on resolving the difficulties of the mind. It also should be, then mind will become more cooperative. Okay.
Thank you.
I will include Bhatia uncle now. Bhatia uncle, I am bringing you into the spotlight. Yeah.
स्वामी जी कोटि कोटि प्रणाम.
नमस्कार.
थैंक यू वेरी मच. शुक्रिया बहुत बहुत आपका. I wanted to know about 26 shlok. Atma Samskriti. You have already explained it.
Atma Samskriti Swatma Darshanam.
Just wanted to know about that. You have already explained it. Thank you very much.
Yes. What is Swatma Darshanam? So earlier verse said, Isha Darshanam Swat, the verse number 25 said, Isha Darshanam Swatma Rupataha. What is meant by Isha Darshanam? The Darshanam of Ishvara, the realization of Ishvara, or now the Ishvara is knowing Ishvara as my own self. So ultimate knowledge or understanding Ishvara is to recognize Ishvara as the same consciousness that I am. In the dimension Ishvara is great and I am very small. But in essence, that great dimension like ocean also is water and I am a little wave also is water. So more I give up my identification of waveness with my littleness, more I recognize that my nature also is consciousness. So recognizing that the consciousness that Ishvara is consciousness that I am. This is called Svatma Rupataha. When Ishvara reduces to consciousness, Veshahanataha. So earlier Ramana Maharshi said, Isha Jivayoho Veshadhi Bhida. Bhida, the difference between Ishvara and Jiva is in Vesha, in the costume. Ishvara has a costume of, cosmic costume of Maya. And Jiva has the individual costume. So Veshadhi, the Bhida, the difference, the duality or the difference is in Vesha, not in essence. Same consciousness putting on the costume of Maya is called Ishvara. Same consciousness putting on the costume of ignorance is called, Ishvara, Maya, and the costume of ignorance is called Jiva. So, costume is Maya and ignorance. Costumes are different. The cosmic costume, the individual costume, but devoid of costume, the Ishvara is consciousness. So, this requires total humility. This is called surrender, total humility. That I slowly and slowly stop measuring myself based on my limited little upadhi. Judging myself, about from this body-mind complex. In this, giving up identification with littleness, with this body-mind complex. More that happens, closer I am to Ishvara. And when my identification with this limited body-mind complex goes away, then I remain what I am consciousness, which is same as Ishvara. Veshahanataha. Vesha means individual vesha, individual costume, individual upadhi. When I give identification with that I am the body, I am the mind, I recognize Vigraha Indriya Prana. Earlier verse said, Vigrahendriya Pranadhitama Nahamekam. This Vigraha body, Indriya, sense organs, Prana, the breath, mind, intellect, ignorance, none of them I am. I am just Sat, the witness. So that way I create a distance with Upadhi. Then I am Sat, the same as Chit. So more I recognize my true nature as Sat or Chit, consciousness, more I become closer to Ishvara, which is consciousness. Ultimately, when my total identification goes away, then I see myself just consciousness, which is Ishvara, myself. Svatma Rupata. Ish Darshanam. So Ishvara is consciousness. Ultimate, even the Ishvara is the creator, sustainer, dissolver, omniscient, omnipotent, but that's all Maya, that's all costume. The essential nature of Ishvara is just pure consciousness, simple consciousness. Asti bhati priyam. Amus asti bhati priyam. So that way, this is called Vesha, giving up identification. The Vesha, I recognize the identification. So knowing Ishvara as myself is Isha Darshanam. Svatma Rupata, as my own self.
Thank you very much, Swami.
Yes. Oh.
I wanted to know if Anita wanted to ask a question now.
Yes, I have a very.
Yeah, please do, Anita. Go ahead. Huh? You can come into the screen. Uncle is in the screen, you're not. Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Koti Koti Pranam Swami.
Namaskar.
How to let go my need to be in control of everything.
Yeah. The knee controls me by causing pain to me. Is that what you mean?
No, need. The need to control, Swamiji.
Oh, how to
Control everything.
control my
How
need?
to let go the need to control everything.
Is that what you mean?
To be in control of everything. Yeah.
See, we should let ourselves understand that controlling means taking a big burden on our mind.
Yes.
It may give me some kind of a satisfaction that I am in control. Who is control has to carry all the burden of what he is controlling. And our mind, give freedom. Let things be what they are. Now I am retired, I have nothing now, no demands, no concern. Let everybody be free. Let the children be what they are, family be what they are, spouse be what they are, whatever. Give them freedom, bless them all. Rather than controlling, bless them, help them, pray for them.
Yes. Yes, Swami. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Pranam Swamiji.
And now I'll bring in Arora uncle. Arora uncle, you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Swamiji, pranam.
Namaskar.
Namaskar, pranam.
Ah,
Swamiji, my question is, Vedantic vision is that physical existence is mithya, transitory, drashyam, like a dream. But neither conceptually nor experientially it appears like that. Even laws of karma propagate it to establish its reality. So how to assimilate mithyatva of this physical existence?
We should understand what is meant by mithyatva. When it is said physical existence is mithya, it is not meant to say it is not there. But then, it is not what I take it to be there. For example, when you are watching a movie, it looks very real. Sometimes we get absorbed in watching the movie, it becomes very real, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it is no, just because something appears to be real doesn't mean it is real. Now here reality doesn't mean that I don't experience it. Reality means that it is changing. Here mithya means it is constantly changing. It is never the same next moment. Therefore, I cannot determine what I determine this moment, next moment is different. And therefore, everything is transitory, everything is changing, everything is momentary, everything is nashwaram, mortal. And therefore, real means I take it to be constant, I take it to be reliable, I take it to be trustworthy. But now when I realize that nothing in the world is ever the same next moment, and therefore, how can I trust? How can I depend upon that? How can I take it to be real? What the mind is searching for is something that is real, trustworthy, abiding, lasting. What I experience is constantly changing, perishing. So mithya means which is not constant, changing, perishing, which cannot be determined what it is because you determine this moment, next moment is different. What is Satyam?
I understand that, but this propagation because of laws of karma, that establish the reality.
It doesn't.
It is propagating.
No, mithya is a very systematic thing. Now, we know from physics also that the universe is all controlled by various laws of mechanics, isn't it so? The universe is controlled by various laws of mechanics, of gravity, of electromagnetism, etc. All the laws are controlling the phenomena of universe, is it not so? Universe is a very systematic functioning system, is it not so?
Yeah.
But still, the scientists tell us that all this matter is nothing but energy. You look at the matter which appears tangible, you inquire into that, it reduces to energy which is not tangible. So that which looks like this from one standpoint looks different, another standpoint is not real. So mithya means which is not real, not trustworthy, fleeting, and therefore just because the rules are there doesn't make it real. The rules are not a criterion to determine reality. Reality is that which is sustainable, which is trustworthy, which is infallible. That's called reality. Second, trust, which remains the same. So, things are changing according to rule. That's called law of karma. But even when law of karma is there, the fact remains everything constantly changing. Is it not so?
Yeah.
So, just because it is systematic, that is not the criterion for deciding it is real. Even when this part is useful, usefulness is not the criterion of reality. So, in our mind, we call the universe real and tangible because it is useful. But usefulness is also relative, useful in a given situation, not in another situation. So if you think of why do I think that the world is real, you will find that it has become a habit on my part to take it as real because it looks tangible, it looks useful, it serves the purpose of my life. But that is only conditional. If things serve the purpose only under certain conditions, it does not serve the purpose under different conditions. Satyam means that which is consistent, ever remains the same, trustworthy, reliable, always serve the purpose. There is no such thing in the universe. You know what it means is that
Thank you.
you cannot depend upon that. You cannot look upon the universe as a source of security, as a source of comfort, as a source of happiness, because it's changing constantly. That itself is changing constantly. How can that give you security? How can that give you happiness? How can that give you comfort? So think in the mind. When I say world is real, what do I mean? Oh, because it gives me comfort, gives me happiness, gives me security. That's why we call it real. But does it give me security? Does it give me comfort, or I think it gives? Is it my notion or is it a reality? So that even if the word mithya is not clear to you, you can always ask this question, my conclusion that the world gives me comfort, is it true? World gives me security, is it true? World gives me happiness, is it true? Think about that. Only conditionally. Only when condition is satisfied, then a given thing can give me happiness, not otherwise. Something can give me happiness under certain conditions, comfort under certain conditions, security, certain conditions. Therefore, nothing is a source of comfort, security, happiness. It is my mind that projects those things upon the thing. So, it's called mithya, which appears to give me happiness, appears to give me security, appears to give me comfort, which it doesn't have. So, mithya is that which appears to be something which it is not. So, world appears to be a source of happiness, which it is not. It appears to be a source of security, which it is not. Appears to be a source of happiness, which it is not. That's called mithya. Meaning that I cannot depend upon that for my security, happiness, comfort. That I have to see from myself, seek from myself. That's what is meant by mithya.
Thank you, Swami.
Okay, all right.
Sony uncle has raised his hand, but before that, there is our Suchismita. I have to find her. Suchismita, please put on your video. Yeah, beta. So I'm adding you to the spotlight. You can ask your question directly. I need not. You can unmute yourself.
Thank you, Guruma. Thank you, Swamiji, for being with us again. Hari Om, and Koti Koti Pranam to you. So my question, I'm afraid it's a little bit mundane and it's a little bit associated with the practical aspect of this. So my question is, for as long as I occupy this body-mind complex, my body and mind, they are susceptible to pain and disease. So sometimes, even if we are healthy, we find ourselves stuck in unpleasant social situations. So we are often with people who may cause us stress or anger or fear. So in such situations, how do we bring back the calmness of the mind? Because without a calm mind, we are unable to focus on this pursuit of real knowledge of ourselves. And, as we discussed, a pure mind is needed. So how do we retain the pure mind if we are surrounded by people or situations that cause us deviation from that pursuit?
For that, take out some time to address those situations when you are by yourself, when you are away from those situations, when you can be more objective, when you are not involved, then you are more objective. You can look at those things from a distance and analyze. What causes fear? What causes anger? What causes this? I will find that that entity is involved, of course, but I am also involved in some way. It's only when the two entities are involved that fear, anxiety, whatever can happen. So what is my part in that? Already this person is what it is, the world is what they are, what they are, no question about it. But then, what is my part in that? How much importance I give to that? Why am I so concerned? Why am I so afraid? Even if somebody does something, is it necessary that I have to become afraid, I have to become scared in the situation I am in? But when you are by yourself from a distance, you can see how sometimes it just become a habit on our part. So, understand what is my part in my fears, anxieties, worries, unhappiness, sadness. The world has a part, no doubt about that. But I also have a part. And can I address that part? World I cannot control. But my part is my attitude. How much importance I give, how I look at it, what I think of myself. So bring those things also in when you have a moment of quietude, when you can be objective. Analyze and take any situation when you are afraid. Take that situation. What caused fear? And all right, why am I afraid? What will happen? So, look into that and stretch it, to get into depth of that, not just superficially. Because we superficially become afraid and stay there or just leave it there. And that may be so when you are in a given situation. You may not have that kind of leisure but when you are by yourself, leisure, take those a few events, significant events, address them, understand them. See what is your part in that. How it has become a habit, how it has become my habit to judge something, to conclude something, brand something, So we will understand ourselves also. And more we understand ourselves, more we may be able to uncouple ourselves from this, become more objective. So being objective meaning that understanding things for what they are, giving importance that they deserve. Everything deserves importance, but not more than what it has. When we sometimes give it much more importance, then also it causes problem. Somebody don't give any importance, then also it causes problem. There is no problem, is also not right. Everything is a problem, also is not right. There is problem, some problem. This much is a problem. Just to relate a little, incident with our Puja Swamiji. He was relating, this man comes to Puja Swamiji. Swamiji, I am in pain. Oh wow, you are in pain? Yes. Whole body is in pain? No, Swamiji. Oh, your right side is in pain? Yes, Swamiji. Your right leg is in pain? Yes, Swamiji. Is your knee paining? Yes, Swamiji. What, this point is paining? Yes. So what is paining is one little point on one right knee. He says, I am in pain. So this is the habit of the mind that it exaggerates things also. So localize the things, so localize the problem, See where the problem, not that there is no problem. We don't want to say there are problems. But then understand problems for what it is. How much impact it has, what is its role, what is its impact, then address that. We don't say there are no problems in life, no cause of fear, we don't say that. But very often, I add a lot of stuff into that habitually. So when you are by yourself, then address some of those, not 2-3 things. Very often get overwhelmed by them, When you're objective, you will not get overwhelmed. Then you can, I understand. Now what should I do? Yes, there is concern here. This person, I have to be careful. He is so and so, such and such, he or she, whatever. All right, what is my strategy? So when you are by yourself, you can decide your strategy of how to deal with that. In the heat of the situation, you can't decide that. You get overwhelmed by that. So something keep repeating every day. Every day same anxieties come, same fears come. So take those 3, 4, 5, 10 things that are important. Understand them, address them, decide your strategy. Mind may forget, again remind the mind, train it. So train the mind by being objective, by understanding things for what they are and not the way I imagine them. I don't say there are no fears, no concerns. There are. You have to be careful, you have to protect yourself, you have to take precautions. All of this has to be done. But then we get so overwhelmed that we are not able to even do that sometimes. So, give the importance to the things that they deserve. And then decide your strategy as what it is that how to deal with that. Seek help also if necessary.
Thank you, Swamiji. As
Okay.
always, you've provided a lot of clarity. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Swamiji, I really don't think we'll have time for a summary, so I'll just ask Suni uncle. He seems to want to ask you something again. So I will ask him. Okay, uncle, unmute yourself.
Swamiji, pranam. I was thinking to ask that time, but I thought there is a less time. That it is not a question; it is some clarification, which afterthought has made me to think that it may not be a right type of question. I just wanted to know, for a jnani, we say this world of name and form. This is all mithya, and the adhishtanam is only the Satchitanand. So, as a jnani, does he see the wall as a wall, or a curtain as a curtain, chair as a chair, or is there, he can see that, although Satchitanand cannot be objectified, that also I know. So maybe it is a foolish question. But what I read through the YouTube, that some of the people like Yogananda and some people who got enlightenment, even Raman Maharshi ji also got the enlightenment. So they were telling when they were touched by their Guru, they could see that there was a wavy form. The things were hazy. They were not able to see a curtain as a curtain. Is it correct, Swamiji? I want to know whether for a jnani, whatever the name or form, which is a mithya, which you have discussed with Mr. Arora also now, and all of us we know. So does he see the curtain as a curtain, chair as a chair, or he sees something else?
So sometimes, to bless the disciple, the Guru may bless him by helping him disappearance of all the names and forms. It's possible. But there is no need for the name of him to disappear. It is like again coming back to this ornament, which is this bangle in my hand.
That's right.
That you also see, now a goldsmith sees gold here. You follow? I see a bangle, a goldsmith also sees a bangle, but also sees gold. Is it not so? Now, as far as Satchidananda is concerned, he is not out there, it is your own self. What happens is we become so much engrossed, occupied by what is out there, we overlook that we are there. I am there all the time. But because of my concerns, worries, anxieties, raga, dveshas, the world and names and forms occupy my mind. And I become unaware of myself. So understand that Satchidananda is always experienced because it is yourself. It's not out there, it's you. You cannot experience anything unless you experience yourself first. So what it means is that as long as the world, the names, forms, what are the objects, things, people are there, as long as they are important, as long as there is attachment there, or aversion there, raga dveshas are there, they overwhelm my mind, control my mind, overpower my mind, and thus I as though forget myself. But when I experience you, I'm also experiencing myself, because without I, my awareness, I cannot experience anything. So in every experience, the experience of Satchidananda is always involved because it is yourself. Self-revealing, self-shining. Just to make a note that when I experience you, I am also experiencing myself. When I experience Bengal, I also experience gold. So also when I experience you, I experience myself. So keep that in mind. That yes, I am there always, Satchidananda. Satchidananda plus whatever. Meaning that my experience of you does not have to be at the cost of or in absence of my experience of myself, because we said the I thought is always there, the I is always there, then only anything can be experienced. Therefore, I don't have to melt the world. I don't have to melt this Bengal to recognize that it is gold. I don't have to melt the world to recognize that I always shine, that I always exist, I always shine, I'm always there in every experience. That I illumine every experience. That's the fact. To see that fact, that's all. So it doesn't have to be melting of something, disappearance of something. That may be so. Just to give you a great kind of assurance, etc., the experiences can be there. But it's not necessary that things have to disappear. Otherwise, Ramana Maharshi cannot function in the life. If the world disappears, how can he function? If you disappear before him, how can he talk to you? So Ramana Maharshi also did day-to-day things, isn't it? Yes. He went to kitchen every morning and cooked, and fed, and walked, and talked, and did all normal things. If things merged and disappeared, how can he do that? But while doing that also, he never lost sight that I am Satchidananda, because that is always himself shining. That's the case with you and I also. In our case, we forget that, we overlook that, because the world takes too much of our attention. Because of attachment, aversions. When it's not there, then you pay attention to yourself, which is always there.
No, if the Guru has made them to see that thing, so that is a part of Siddhi or something else?
There is nothing to be seen. Isha darshanam svatma rupataha. Ishvara, Brahman has to be seen as your own self, you already always are there. So this is a Vedantic way, which does not require any kind of miracles or things to happen, because things are already happening. If your knowledge of yourself requires some special experience, then it's all right. But every experience reveals you. Experience cannot take place unless you are there. So knowing that, making note of that I am always there. That when you look at this or experience the ornament, you experience gold. That goes out of sight, that is why. When I experience you, I am experiencing myself also. And that is Satchidananda. So it doesn't require a special experience. Every experience involves you in Satchidananda. It's a matter of recognizing that.
Sonia uncle's phone kept ringing, so I would keep removing this thing. Komal, I noticed that you had put your hand up. Are you still interested? We still have a few minutes.
Yes, Guruma, a very
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Please come. Yeah.
Swamiji, the true self does not perform any action. So then, who is the karta? The I thought?
Yes. The I thought is the karta. Yeah.
Okay.
All karta bhukta is I thought. So when that happens, then also the I thought is illumined by your true self. Illumines, stays. In the light of that, the I thought does everything.
Thank you.
Now Krishna Pratap ji has raised his hand, so I'm adding him to the spotlight.
Swamiji, two slokas, I thought if proper time comes, some explanation can be, it can help me to understand. Sarla Chintana, Virla Chintana. So it is explained that one that is continued, this is not discontinued. So in our normal way of life, it is mostly discontinued when you're in the japa or meditation, that thinking, you're contemplating. Other times you are not. So how one has to try to go to Sarala Chintana?
So this is the description of when you are meditating. Sarala Chintanam means that the Chintanam, Soham, I am that, without interruption. Virla Chintanam means that interruptions are there, other worldly also thoughts come and then go and come and go. So Virla Chintanam means that flow of that thought is disturbed by other thoughts. Sarala Chintanam means that the flow of the I thought is not disturbed. That applies to, so even if you are doing japa, Om Namah Shivaya, Sarala Chintanam means that the same thought persists. Virla Chintanam means that Om Namah Shivaya, some other thought comes. Again Om Namah Shivaya, some other thought comes. So when that Chintanam or that flow is disturbed by other thoughts, it's called Virala Chintanam. Not disturbed, Sarala Chintanam.
I have one more doubt, Swamiji. The last but one shlok, I'm just coming to that. Jnana Varjitat, Jnana Hinachit, Jnanamastakam, Jnanamantaram. Can you explain a little bit, because there seems to be some confusion.
Thank you, sir.
Jnana Varjita, Ajnana Hinachit. See, these verses are so little small couplets. They're very profound ideas, and then also even the vakyas are also short, but at the same time very pithy sentences are there. Therefore, Jnana Varjita Ajnana Chit. What is knowledge? Jnana, what is Jnanam? The chit or consciousness is called Jnanam. What kind of consciousness? Jnana Varjita Ajnana. Consciousness devoid of knowledge and ignorance. Knowledge means the knowledge thoughts, worldly knowledge, and ignorance. So consciousness devoid of the knowledge and ignorance, because knowledge, ignorance, both of them are at the level of vyavahara. Then the consciousness is chit, is devoid of both knowledge, the worldly knowledge, and ignorance. That's called jnanam. The chit is called jnanam. Jnana varjita, ajnanahina chit is jnanam. So what jnana we explain. Chit is jnanam. The consciousness is knowledge. When consciousness is devoid of the worldly knowledge or worldly ignorance. Because worldly knowledge is there, consciousness is there. Worldly ignorance is there, consciousness is there. Consciousness is always there. and consciousness is called jnana. But when they use the word jnana or knowledge, what is meant is that consciousness which is devoid of worldly knowledge or ignorance. Meaning, the worldly things are not there. Consciousness devoid of any worldly thought is chit, is jnana. Consciousness is jnana.
Thank you.
Swamiji, I've come into gallery view and I think it's already 7:36, so I'm wondering, it looks like we are asking too much from Swamiji to give us a summary also, Swamiji.
But summary is already included in all our
to
answers.
these questions, to all the questions.
Yeah.
So it was a nice session. What do you think, Swamiji? All of the students.
Very nice session. Yes, yes. They should feel
Yes.
nice also. Yeah. I guess
think they do.
I
Every
guess they
one
do.
of them. Everyone can put on your video so that Swamiji can see who is here, and it will be nice for Swamiji to see all of you. Huh? So let me see if I can point out. There are people here whom I don't know also. Because I put this in some of the Facebook groups, So some people are here whom I don't know. So let me just point out the students. Here is Monica. This is Monica.
Pranam Swamiji. Namaskaram.
Namaskar.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
And then there is there's Mr. Mehra.
Yes.
Mr. Mehra is here.
Oh,
You can
there
unmute
is.
yourself.
Yes, yes, right.
He's a very committed student, Swamiji.
Yes.
He's
yes.
shy to ask questions, but extremely committed. And here Shobha, another committed student. And Naresh has disappeared somewhere. Yeah, here's Naresh. I don't know,
Oh, there he is. Yes, right. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then we have couple of new students. I've started another group, Swamiji, with your Tattva Bodha. I'm lazy to teach. I can't seem to do more than one, I do one class a week and rest is all Swamiji, see. Here is Manoj, who is Mr. Soni's son. I'll just spotlight him. So he is our latest one of the, he has also started studying Tattva Bodha and he is finding it very useful. Yeah.
Prostrations to your holy feet, Guru.
Yes.
That's his normal way of speaking. Huh? And then, of course, there is our Tanvi who keeps dreaming about you.
Pranam Swamiji.
Yeah, where are you?
I'm fine, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm in Dehradun.
All right, very good. Very nice.
And I think, the rest, whoever wants to say hello, whatever you want to say, of course, our Dhyana is here, whom I know. Then some people whom I don't know. So you can introduce yourself if you want to. Otherwise, I thank Swamiji from all of us.
So Chaitanya is there. Okay, I'm glad to see.
Dhyana is right here.
Yeah.
Let me show you 1 minute.
Yeah, once more.
Yeah, here she is.
Oh, there she is now. I can see her. Okay,
yes.
good. Very
Yeah,
good.
I
Very nice.
spotlighted her with
Yes,
Swamiji.
yes.
Yeah. And so from all of us in Dehradun, Swamiji, I don't know how to say, it means so much to me, so much, I think, to all the students too, that we are able to have this kind of interaction with Swamiji. And I do intend to continue with this a cycle of studying from Swamiji's videos. I have a couple of things in mind. I will ask Swamiji and then we will decide what to do. There are 2 chat messages. Just let me see. Okay, no, it's okay. No? So just big thank you from all of us. This was the most delightful study that I have had, this Upadeshasara. And I noticed that Swamiji's Panchadashi is also there in the YouTube videos. So we may do that, or I may just do simple everyday stuff, like conquering inner enemies, and some other few are there like that. Self-acceptance, accepting yourself, living in the present, which are all maybe 6, 7 videos.
Right.
You do some of them and then go for Panchadashi. So we finish one chapter in Panchadashi like that. So that gives me an opportunity also, because when I do along with them, then I am also listening. So I
She's
don't
so
know what else.
simple. She's so simple and humble, you can see. Our
Oh,
Guruma
Swami.
is very simple, very humble, and
In
very
North
devoted.
India, they give this title, Swamiji. They go and call you Guru Ma.
Well,
It's
that doesn't I like that anyway. That's a good thing. That they look
yeah.
upon you that way is good.
So if
Thank you
anybody
so much.
wants to say something, you all are welcome to say before then we close the meeting. Yeah.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Oh,
Thank you.
Kumar.
Thank you.
Last
Namaskar.
year in Raleigh, I've been listening to some of your classes. It's greatly benefited me, and I've been part of Arshavidya Gurukula, listening a lot and gaining a lot. I think I came a long way, but long way to go further. Thank you so much, Swamiji.
Yeah, he is somebody from the Facebook group. I have a guided meditations of yours on which I must say I do not post very often. But there are 300 and something members in that, So maybe he is from that group, And yeah, okay.
I'm a student of Vijay Kapoorji also.
Okay, all right. Where are you?
I'm in Raleigh, Swamiji.
Okay.
And
Swamiji,
I've
I
been
have
listening
spotlighted
to.
you. If you go to speaker view, Swamiji, you'll be able to see him. Because I keep spotlighting you and whoever you're speaking to.
Okay, there you are. All right. Yes.
Uh-huh.
You're in Raleigh, or now I can see you clearly. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So Shanti Kumar.
I've been listening to Tattva Vidananda ji also.
Okay, right.
And Shankarananda ji Swamiji from.
Yes.
I've been greatly benefited. Yeah, I think I'm blessed. Thank you so much.
Very happy to see that. Yes.
I hope, Swamiji, you were watching in speaker view, because with each speaker I was putting just a positioning them with you.
Yes. No, I could
so
see
that
that.
you could see who you were speaking to.
I could see that.
Yeah?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So I think with that, thank you, Swamiji.
All right. With the prayer now we'll conclude.
Yes.
Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Namaskar.
Pranam, Swamiji. Om. So this is end of meeting. You all can all leave one by one. Okay. Even Swamiji. Unless somebody has something to say. Yeah. So we.
વાહ. સ્ક્રીન ને બધું જોરદાર કામકાજ છે.